welcome to the Miles Hannick Show for July 17th, 2026, Episode 3. I'm Miles Hannick. We have a very, very light menu on the bill for today. I know it's progressively gotten shorter and shorter, but I don't even think this episode today is going to stretch 10 minutes. We'll just jump right into it where we always go, right over to Beaver Stadium on the gridiron. It's one of the days where football was actually one of the least news-packed days for Penn State. The only real uh, developments were, again, we talked about the ACC media days yesterday with James Franklin, but today, Pittsburgh coach Pat Narduzzi was asked about the Penn State rivalry, and he gave a very good response. Um, Not much to it, obviously. It's still, a very uncertain rivalry of sorts, but he gave some insight of how he, wanted to continue that and, see it be something returned to, which I'm sure everyone agrees with. But the real insight is there that he actually revealed that he texted Pat Kraft knowing that he was going to be asked this question and, didn't get a response, but he said, said he was, saying what he could say almost. But it kind of almost, I don't know if I'm reading between the lines here, but maybe why would you text the AD of the other school if there was, some news to be released? I don't know. That's me being optimistic because obviously a Pittsburgh kid, I want to see this rivalry resumes. I don't think there's, anything maybe for Pitt and West Virginia, but for Penn State, I don't think there's any team battle that means more between these two schools. But it'll be interesting to see if we hear some more news. That's really the only main development. Other than that, there was the 2028 class got some light estimate or light adjustments from ESPN. Still, Jet Harrison, Ohio State commit, is still number one in the state of PA, but Deontay Fleming's cornerback commit was moved up to number two, and James Armstrong is now number five. There's a few other targets within that top five, but it's good to see some future commits get their love and get boosted. Just shows that the staff really, has an eye for talent and knows that these guys are just going to only improve. So it's all about keeping them from here. But that's all that really, happened with football today. It was rather light, as I said, but moving on to the hardwood, my favorite, men's basketball. It was announced that, or not announced, but leaked through Canisius that their first home game on November 2nd will be at the Bryce Jordan Center against Penn State, which will presumably be the Nittany Lions opener that earlier in the year, but we'll see. It's still yet to be announced. We have a media coming up this Tuesday with head coach Mike Rhodes, so maybe we'll get some more clarity, but I'm not going to dive too much into this. Obviously, we have Pod with us that I mentioned last episode. I'll break down some more men's basketball news there sometime next week. But just put on their radar that this non-conference schedule is really starting to get filled out. We have this potentially an opener, Pitt at the Palestra, and then that battle for Atlantis. So there's really only a few early season games that we just need to figure out. Obviously, I'm going to guess it's probably some weaker caliber teams, but we will see. Moving on, women's lacrosse. We talked about them a lot recently. They've been busy in the transfer portal, but they finally made a high school commitment in the form of Reese Heim. I wrote the update for the Collegian today. I'm very optimistic on this pick. She seems like she's a very, very capable attacker, 5'7" righty. Looking at her statistics, she's very, very capable. Second primary attacker on her team, which won states this year. But for the first time, I think it was since 1998, they won states. I mean, despite her being second all season, she absolutely brought it home for them. 7 goals in that championship game. So obviously, Penn State, as I discussed last episode, is a team that I have high optimism for, and especially with their development. So I'm expecting, a good amount from her. But with these transfers coming in, I don't expect her to, obviously have to take on a top line role like maybe past freshmen have, like Allen. But we'll see. Definitely think it's a good pickup for the Nittany Lions. But I think the biggest news for today, we always want to probably put our cap on what we think the biggest news for today. I've always done that is men's volleyball. They've named a new assistant coach for Colin McMillan's staff. Obviously, it's his first year. He has some big shoes to fill with Mark Pavlik into retirement. He he this is a good pickup. I think Jacob Kirscher is going to be somebody who is going to be very essential. Kirshner spent 5 seasons on the staff at Lewis. He was AVCA 30 under 30 award recipient. Lewis had a good season during, or a good, tenure during his time there. But I'm not really going to focus on their on the court results because he was primarily a recruiter. He brought in 19 Fab 50 athletes to Lewis. No other D1, D3 program had more in the 2021 and 2022 recruiting class. And for Lewis, that's pretty big. So obviously, whenever you lose a guy like Pavlik, recruiting is going to take a hit. You're not having that prestige in the coaching room, but getting a guy that knows how to, really navigate the trail like Kirshner, it's going to be massive. And I really like this addition for McMillan's staff because, obviously, all the other guys are going to be focused on the more tactical aspects, and this allows a guy to really come in and, you know, um, get those new players in, and he's a guy who will fit right in. I mean, he was in Central Dauphin High School and he was a Harrisburg native, so he's not that far away. Obviously, he doesn't have many Penn State ties besides this new role, but those will just have to be nurtured. And I really think it's the start of a new great bond for men's volleyball. And I really like this move for just obviously there's a new transition to this new period, and I think they're doing this in the right way. But that really concludes it. Other than that, we have some minor news. Softball assistant coach Adriana Baghetti is going to the Alliance Nationals in Indiana. There's tons of engagement on that post alone. Indiana Alliance, it's pretty similar to what I said last time with all the other coaches going out west to Huntington Beach. Anytime coaches go to these, tournaments, it's really good for nurturing these bonds where, like or like any sport, recruitment matters, getting younger and younger. So I really am optimistic to where this goes going forward. But yeah, the last piece of news I bring to your attention is that Penn State Athletics is officially looking for PA and MC applications for various sports. Obviously, this is very minor, but it'll just be interesting to see what new personalities and voices we uh, see presented in front of us to represent the new Ninny Lion brand. I'm extremely excited for what it may bring. Maybe we get to see some future Penn Staters just representing us where it really matters. So I'm signing off for 7/17/2026. It was a very light news day, but I'm Miles Hannick, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.